How you guys and girls doing today? Blackboard Gamer here, and in this video I'm going to give y'all the top Genji tips and tricks for 2017 on how to become a master Genji. Let's go.
Young Savage, why you trapping so hard? Why these niggas capping so hard? Why you got a 12-car garage?
How you guys and girls doing today? First and foremost, I want to say thank you for stopping by my video, and please just subscribe to the channel and like, as it really helps me out and I appreciate it. Now let's get right into the video. I also want to let y'all know that this is the Genji that's coming after all the patches and the nerfs that he's been through currently in 2017. The very first tip that I want to give y'all is art charge and to use it wisely. The reason why I feel this is important for Genji mains is because if you're using Genji, the time that it takes for you to build ult is phenomenal. If you go after tanks and defense heroes, it can literally take you less than 2 minutes to build ult charge. My personal favorite tanks to go after are both roadhog and reinhart. Both of these tanks melee's attacks, his hook can be deflected, and Reinhardt's hammer can be deflected with your sword, and you can build all off of them due to the extremely high health. With Reinhardt having 500, I believe, and roadhog having 600, I mean, you can build all off of them extremely fast, even after going off after defensive heroes like Bastion. Also with Genji, you have multiple ways to build ult when it comes to using Genji. You can build ult off of your deflect and your slashing through multiple people. So make sure to build that ult as fast as you can and to use it wisely. What do I mean by use it wisely? For example, Zenyatta and Lucio both have ults that cancel out yours. Both of their durations are 6 seconds. Your Dragon Blade is 6 seconds after the nerf. And Zenyatta and Lucio's ult both last 6 seconds. Zenyatta with his passive healing, infinite healing, and Lucio with his aggressive healing, then slowly becomes passive and just drifts off. If both healers, and also when you're playing Genji, you'll have a game sense. You'll have a game sense you'll eventually know. Make sure, no matter if you're getting pressure from your team or not, make sure you know that both the enemy team's healers have exhausted their ults, because if they don't exhaust their ults and you pop yours is going to be wasted. You're most likely going to die because the teams are going to focus you, and then you're going to leave your team at a huge disadvantage. They're going to be wondering why you popped ult in the first place. So make sure that you can either bait the Zenyatta or the Lucio out, or bait the Mercy out from a res, or any of the healers. Make sure you can bait any of their ults out, so that way when you ult, there's no way anybody can counter it. So please make sure to use your ult wisely and to build as fast as you can. My second tip for y'all cannot be stressed enough. Use that cyber agility. What I mean by that is I cannot tell you how many times I've seen other Genjis stay on the ground just to get killed seconds later. Y'all, seeing a Genji on the ground is the equivalent of seeing a Widowmaker running with her team or seeing a Bastion out of sentry mode. You just don't do it. You're a target waiting to get picked off. Genji has a cyber agility for a reason, and the best thing about it, it's passive. It cannot be stopped by any DPS. It cannot be stopped by any defense. If Sombra tries to hack you, or she uses her ultimate, she tries to hack you by herself, that does not go away. Your powers do not get taken away from you. Cyber agility is something that's gonna stay. I mean, y'all, not only does it make you hard to hit, but people will start to ignore you. You'll notice that. You'll notice that as you're jumping up in the air throwing shurikens at people and you're being ignored, people will just often run with their team because they're tired of having to deal with a Genji that keeps on jumping. When you're on the ground, you're an easy target to get either hooked in or get shot at, or anything, get ulted. I mean, let me tell you one thing. If there's one thing that you get from this video, remember this: an ignored Genji is the best Genji. This third tip is also vastly important on so many levels that I cannot even stress it. Genji, like most flankers, need to know their flanking routes. The reason this is super important is because when it comes to control point maps, you need to get them off the point as fast as possible. I'm going to show you, of course, throughout this video, as you can clearly see, multiple flanking routes that you can go. This gives you the upper advantage over your enemy. Not only does this get them off the point in certain situations, this also draws them towards you. While you're picking at them and getting on their nerves and they're trying to swat you like a fly up in the air, it gives your team plenty of time to rush in and to counteract them, get a pick, and you'll be able to take the point and easily make a win for your team. So know these flanking routes. Also, these flanking routes can get you out of sticky situations. For example, so you're getting chased by the enemy, you can go on ahead and escape out of these flanking routes, and they just simply can't catch you because they can't go that same flanking route you can. Not only that, And don't just use the flanking routes, make sure to use buildings too. Just because you can't hop on top of a certain roof does not mean you can't glide across it. I can't tell you how many times I've glided across rooftops and glided across walls just to get to the other enemy team to annoy them, and then use the same roofs to glide back. There are so many opportunities and ways that you can get across the map. It's absolutely ridiculous, and you should be using all of these, especially when you're using Genji. It won't only confuse the enemy and cause them to come after you and get off the point, it'll actually deter them and allow the enemy team to be broken up so your team can go in and destroy them. Now, this is a common sense rule in my opinion, but this really matters. Don't get picked off. I know this rule applies for everyone, but especially DPS and especially Genji. The reason why is because as a DPS, your main rule is to attack the enemy team and to kill them so your team can rush. Not only that, but you are a flanker as well. That means that your priority is also the healers and the defense, to make sure the healers and the defense enemies are down. If you die, not only do you leave your team at a huge disadvantage, but you also leave your team without damage, period, DPS, for that short amount of time. If you must use it, use your dash to get out of a sticky situation. I mean, y'all, I can't tell you how many times, when DPS die, your team will shortly follow after. You would think that your team is able to handle it, but if your team simply doesn't have DPS, let's just say your team is surviving off of you and they only have a Reinhart. They have like a couple of snipers, a Reinhart and a roadhog. Reinhart and roadhog are too slow to do enough damage, and they'll probably end up getting picked off by somebody who can actually flank them, like another tracer, another Genji on every team, or a sniper who can snipe them, and they just too slow to get away. Once you die, your DPS is gone, so try to survive and make sure survivability is a must when you're playing Genji. And last but not least, y'all, I honestly think, in my own opinion, that number 5 is the most important out of all of them, which is don't allow people to pressure you off of Genji. Genji is currently not meta at the moment, so a lot of people are going to tell you to get off of him and that he's no good, especially when you start to lose that match. People are going to constantly tell you, Genji, you need to swap because you're not doing your job as a flanker. You're not doing enough damage. Listen, there are 6 people on the enemy team for a reason, and there are 6 people on your team for a reason. Even if you're not doing good, and medals aren't everything, even if you're not getting medals and you're still getting valuable picks, stick with Genji. Not only that, he is a high skill cap hero, and with a little bit of practice, you can be a force to be reckoned with and dominate the enemy team. That wraps it up for my guide, y'all. I really want y'all to let me know what y'all thought in the comments below. Once again, this is my Overwatch guide on how to master Genji tips and tricks for 2017. This is the video for 2017 with all the recent patches and the nerfs that Genji's received, and I want y'all to let me know what you thought of these 5 tips, and I will catch all y'all on the next one. Black Boy Gamer once again.
Let's get Wiz Khalifa high, yeah.